Alrighty, I'm here doing an interview about my sister's buck. She was a little camera shy, didn't want to talk into the camera. She was probably a little mad or angry with me, upset, whatever you want to call it, because first intentions, I thought she had missed the buck. I thought she'd shot under it, and the more I watched the footage, she ended up hitting it. So as the story goes, we were sitting there and she was on the ground taking her coat off because she thought she was going to get too hot. And I'm up in a hang-on above the one man. I'm getting the camera gear set up, and shoot, that alone takes 5 minutes probably, and you're trying to do it quiet and everything else. Well, she finally gets up there after I get all the camera gear set up, and she realizes that the tree stand doesn't have a guardrail going around it that she's going to sit in. And she didn't feel comfortable. And we got in a good old brotherly sister argue up in that tree stand. She finally said it was fine and sat down, and she was just looking forward to the whole hunt. I was looking over a CRP field. So we're sitting there, time goes on, we hadn't seen a deer, and my dad's like 80 yards south of us, and all of a sudden I heard something in the woods, and I mean there was squirrels galore in that little finger we were in. So I just kind of turned and looked, and at one point, this deer probably had to be almost right in front of her. And I think she was still mad at me. She was looking on her phone, and I'd seen a rat coming through the woods, and I hit her, and I said, "Get ready, there's a nice buck coming out." Well, she stood up and had to turn and face the field, and this, I don't know, he was probably 3 or 4 year old. Wasn't super old, but just one of those deers that it was a good cull buck. It didn't have good genetics. There's another one down there. It's probably the offspring of. We've been trying to kill. He's a big 6. Well, that's who I thought it was, because off that one side it was just a giant fork, and that's how that big 6 is laid out. And I thought for sure that was it. So I said, "Tell me when you want to stop it." So I'm filming it, and he comes out and he stops right in the shooting, or he walks right in our shooting lane. I stopped him, and she had shot, I mean, right away. So I was like, okay, she was on it, and then I looked at her, and you may be able to hear it in the film. I'm pretty sure I looked at her and said, "You missed." Tell me when to stop it. Meh. Well, I let go of the camera, hoping that the deer was going to stop out in that field, and the gun had jammed. I was trying to get the shell out for her, not realizing that the camera had fallen straight to the ground, but I got it running off. So it was probably 4:30 when she shot. We sat in a stand until about 4:40, and I looked at her and I said, after watching this more and more, I sent it to a few people. I said, "I think you hit that deer." I said, "We need to go look and just see if we can find blood, and then we'll wait and let it expire." So we climbed down, and we found hair right at the hit site, and about 5 yards from the hit site we found some blood. So I said, let's not get too carried away. You may have just grazed it. Let's go down to the end of the fence row where he ran in at after he ran through the CRP field. And we go down there, and we found pretty good blood, or decent blood. I shouldn't say pretty good blood. So after going probably 100 yards down in the woods, after waiting a good while, we decided to back out and call Ron and Dio and Gary. And let me tell you, if you haven't seen them people do their thing, that's incredible. I mean, that's about as good as shooting a big buck as watching Dio do his thing.
Whitetail, and we get a hunt for Sioux, Lord. We give great thanks and acknowledge it's through you. Today, once again, Lord, I ask that you give us the strength and endurance to keep up with Dio, as well as keep our senses keen and sharp, in hopes that we can recover the buck for him, Lord. And Lord, I ask another favor, to keep us safe throughout this trek and our journeys on the road as well. It's through your name, grace, and mercy I ask this, Lord. Amen. All right, Dio. Hey, come here. Hey, find him. Go find him.
Gary starts yelling, "Got a lot of blood, got a lot of blood." Well, Ron takes off fast, and we're trying to keep up. And we get down there, and we're kind of standing there, and Gary, he goes, "Man, I'm kind of tired here. You need to hold this leash for me, Riley." So Riley grabs a hold of his leash, and it's like Dio had it planned in his head too, because he took off on that trail, and Ron bumped me and, you know, told me that they'd found it, and we just went over a little bitty hill down in a creek, and there that buck was.
There he is.
Riley.
Right there. Good job, buddy.
I'll get him back.
Well, that's not a big 6, but that's a good buck, Riley.
That's awesome. Good job, Dio.
Good job. Can we pet him?
Well, there's 3 beds up there.
See, okay to pet.
Yeah, right now he is.
Good boy.
Hey, Dio.
buddy.
You got a fan club, buddy.
Good job.
Guys can get
You're
him.
pretty awesome.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Congratulations.
This isn't the big 6.
Just letting them, or watching them let her take that dog to that deer, that was, I know, something special for her. I mean, as a hunt to remember to begin with, it was her first big buck, let alone, I mean, we would not have found that deer if it weren't for Ron and Dio and Gary. I mean, heck, that deer went 3/4 of a mile through the woods, and he was just dropping specks of blood. She crushed the liver and the gut. It was a little quartered away. She hit it pretty far, or, you know, a little far back. You know, she buck fever, if I had to guess, or just trying to freehand that gun for, I'm sure it was a combo of both, but she ended up getting it done, and we backed out. Like I said, once the blood got, you know, low after 100 yards, I thought, you know, we just need to get out of here, and we called in the A-team, as a lot of people call them, and I'll stand with them on that, because there was no way we were finding that deer without them. And just the look on Riley's face whenever she come over that little hill was something else. And Dio, you could tell he was just tickled pink, like he just, in his nature, he knew what he was doing. There wasn't no doubt about it.